mics on. Are you ready in the back? Okay. Why don't you let me know when we're on the air? We're on the air? Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the School District of Waukesha full board meeting on tax day, April 15th, 2015. So hopefully everybody has that all wrapped up and
Nobody had to write checks.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here tonight. I'd also like to thank everybody who decided to throw their hat into the ring for the school board election that was just held this last week. Paul Reese and Amanda Medina Roddy, and also Carrie Schulte, Kurt O'Brien, Pat Madden, Patrick McCaffrey. Thank you all for participating in the important aspect of our democratic society. And I'd like to congratulate Pat Madden, Patrick McCaffrey, and Kurt O'Brien on being reelected.
Thank you.
It's a privilege to serve with each of you, and I'm sure my fellow board members would echo that. So why don't we all stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sue, will you please take the roll?
William Baumgart.
Here.
Barbara Brezink.
Here.
Steve Edlin.
Here.
Ellen Langell.
Here.
Patricia Madden. Patrick McCaffrey.
Here.
Kurt O'Brien.
Here.
Karen Reinacek. Here. Joseph Como.
Here. And Sue, has the meeting been properly posted with the media?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. Tonight we do not have bright lights and we do not have recognition, but we do have a special evening with our student reports. We're going to have all three schools represented tonight. And we'll just have, as you come up and give your report, why don't you introduce yourselves at that time? And we'll start with Waukesha North tonight.
Hello, I'm Maura Flanagan. As many of you know, I'm a senior this year, so this is the last time I will be presenting in front of you. These past few years have been a great pleasure, and I thank you for such a wonderful experience.
And I'm Jared Estes, and we're going to start off by telling you about the wonderful play that we have coming up this spring. Our North Star players are presenting The Crucible, a play that takes place during the infamous Salem witch trials, and how it affects the residents of a small town. This play will take place April 30th, May 1st, and May 2nd at 7 o'clock, and May 3rd at 2 p.m. We look forward to seeing you there to support our aspiring actors and actresses.
This Friday, people in our school community will be participating in the Day of Silence. The Day of Silence is an event that is about bringing attention to the unfair treatment of various groups in our society. This is a national youth movement that brings attention to the silence faced by the LGBT community and others who face discrimination. We are selling buttons to those who wish to participate to show that silence is indeed loud. And together we can make a difference.
It's that time of year again for Waukesha Idol. It's like American Idol, but for anyone in the county through grades K through 12. This year, Interact Club is donating all proceeds to Polio Plus, an international organization working to eradicate polio worldwide.
This Friday, our jazz ensemble is traveling to Eau Claire for the Eau Claire Jazz Festival. They will participate in a few learning clinics and competitions, including sight reading. This is a great opportunity for the group to enhance their musical experience in a new way. Also, our choirs travel to New York over spring break for a wonderful learning experience. Our choir is now in Iowa today and tomorrow for another performance and are having a wonderful time learning in their new environment.
Now for some sports. The boys tennis team earned their first victory of the season in convincing fashion. We defeated Mugwanago 7-0. It's the first time in documented school history that a North tennis team beat an opponent without dropping a set. Congratulations to the team and good luck this year in this weekend in the Wild West 16. But also, we're actually #1 in the state right now, which because we're 30-4.
Wow.
So That's really good.
Both our boys and girls track teams finished 5th in conference for the indoor season. There was also some very impressive individual finishes, including Mitch Anderson, who placed 2nd in pole vault, Carly Burlingame, 3rd in pole vault, Justice Graff, 2nd in shot put, and in the boys 4x800 and 4x100 finished 3rd. Tyler Bouchard and Parker Zitsky finished 2nd and 3rd in the 200 hurdles. And Hannah Bucci finished 3rd in the mile. Conference champions were Karen Burrow, who with the wheelchair shot put in 55, and Jessica Kelleher in shot put. Of special note, Madison Riccardi won both the 55 and 200 hurdles. In both of these races, she broke the previous Classic 8 conference records. The 55 hurdle record has stood for 13 years.
The softball team won their first conference game against CMH 11-1 and is 3-0 so far this season.
And our girls soccer team welcomes their new coach, Mark Pellegrini, and is excited to have many returning letter winners.
And that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you for letting us speak here.
It's been a pleasure coming here, and I will miss presenting to such a wonderful group of people. Thank you.
Dr. Langell.
Hi, thank you too. You've done a wonderful job, and we'll miss you. I just have to ask what your plans are.
I am attending the University of Minnesota Twin Cities in the fall. Golden Gophers.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be majoring in yet, but I do intend to minor in something in the business field. And for the summer, I actually teach piano to elementary schoolers, and I have for 3 years now. And I've actually hired more teachers because the demand has gone up.
Great.
Wonderful. And you'll be back? No.
Me? Yes.
Yeah.
I will.
He's a sophomore.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Hope you're coming back.
Yeah.
I will.
Good job. Very good job.
Thank you.
Well, with respect to track, you had mentioned Miss Burlingame. I wonder if her father was Kevin Burlingame, because he was a really good pole vaulter when I went to school at South, and I bet you it runs in the genes in that family to be excellent pole vaulters. So that's kind of a unique name, and great job to all those track performances this year, and actually all of the athletic and club performances. It's always a wonderful time hearing what's happening at North, and you guys have really represented North very well this year.
Thank
Thank
you.
Oh, Kurt?
I think, if we're going to mention athletics, I mean, that tennis accomplishment, that's pretty special. And then breaking a 13-year-old record. So I think we better make sure that we highlight those, of course, because that's pretty unusual to do both of those. And North we don't hear enough about North's athletics sometimes. So.
Mrs. Brezink?
Yes, there's someone in the last row smiling ear to ear and is very, very proud of you. I think it's your new principal, Becky Newcomer. Am I right?
All right, thank you very much for your report. Good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
luck next year
Thank you.
at Minnesota.
Yep.
How about if we hear from Waukesha South now?
All right. My name is Melissa, and I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Ellie Trewin. I'm also a senior.
Today we'll be talking about South. And in March, the drama department had their musical, and the musical went extremely well. And South participates in the Tommy Awards, and the Tommy Awards encourages and recognizes high school musical theater. So South got 18 nominations for Tommy Awards.
Wow.
And 10 of them are individual student nominations. That's it.
Yeah. So as you can tell, I'm in my softball uniform. I just came back from a game. We won, so that was exciting. Yes.
Where'd you play?
We played Milwaukee Hamilton.
Okay.
So we continue our games with a game Thursday and Friday. So we're looking to pick up our season here. Coming up, not tomorrow, but next Thursday is our blood drive, our spring blood drive. We have it every year. We want to invite everyone to come.
I wish I could.
One person can save 3 lives. So please, if you have the time, 8 to 1 o'clock in the Waukesha South Fieldhouse, we'd really appreciate the support. So, we're also participating in the Day of Silence too this Friday. As our friends from North explained what it was all about, we're participating in that too, so we're excited about that. So what I've missed, or what I'm gonna miss most about South High School, it's been a wonderful experience, and athletics has been a big part of my experience at South. So the Black Shirt Pride, that's something that's really just dominated my experience. And every day when you walk into South, everyone's smiling, everyone's greeting each other, and just the Black Shirt Pride that's all around the entire school. That's just something that I love so much about it. There's so much support between the students, from teachers to students, and even students to teachers. So Black Shirt Pride is something that I definitely have seen throughout the school and something I'll miss a lot.
Something I'll miss are the teachers' support. The teachers are always there, and they're always free inside and outside of school, and they're always encouraging you to do better. And sometimes it's just really nice having a bad day and go to class, and then we'll crack a joke and we'll make your day. And they're just hilarious, and obviously I'm gonna miss them because when you're in college, you don't have that teacher and student relationship. So you have to form it, while here at South,
Sometimes
you just
you do.
get it already.
Yeah, teachers go out of their way
Yeah.
to make themselves a part of your life. So that's something I'll miss as well. Also, I think South has prepared me a lot for, obviously, we're seniors, so the next step going on, South has prepared me a lot with the after-school activities. I'm in student council, we're both in student council, and student council has helped me a lot with my speaking skills, my people skills, just interacting with a big group of people. So that's something that's definitely helped me and will continue to help me on in my next steps.
Something that South will help for my future are the Health Academy. So I've been in the Health Academy for 4 years, and I've seen the academy grow bigger and more classes to be able in. And some of the classes I've taken are medical terminology, human body systems, medical interventions, customer service, and all those classes will eventually help me for the future since I want to major in biology. And it's something I will always know, and I know for sure going into college will help me what I like to do and will prepare me more than those who are just learning about the healthcare system while I have it under control and learned already.
The sporting events are definitely something I'll miss about South. Our student fan base is it's just phenomenal. You always get a big crowd no matter what sport you're participating in. We're always there to support each other. Our snow show, I love seeing the kids that maybe necessarily aren't in athletics, seeing how other people are using their time at South. Homecoming week is something I'm going to miss a lot, which it's all about Black Shirt Pride. So decorating the hallway is a good time for the classes to get together and maybe interact with some people they normally wouldn't. So that's something I'll definitely miss about South too.
Something very unique about South that stands outside, that is outstanding from other schools is the diverse environment. And being in a diverse environment has helped me work with different types of people with different backgrounds, and we learn how to communicate with each other, and it can be very helpful for the future.
And not even just the part of working, we've learned to accept all types of people with different backgrounds, and that's something I definitely will thank South for. So yeah, that's South High School.
Dr. Langell.
Thank you so much, the two of you, and what a nice tribute. And I have two daughters who graduated from South who would probably echo what you said. Before I ask you a question, I just want to mention, when you were talking about next year in college or university, I teach at a very big university. And we all have office hours, and no one ever comes. So what the students do, no, they just don't, because they just would rather email. But the few who come, so go out of your way to go visit a professor and sit and talk. They'll be thrilled to see you, believe me, because otherwise, people just email, and that's fine. But, the few that have come, I've gotten to know them as people, and it's wonderful. So don't let that go by as an opportunity, because you can have a really good relationship in college with people if you just make that effort, to do it. But I wanted to ask where you're both going.
Well, I'm thinking of UW Waukesha for about semester or a year, and then transfer to Madison.
I will be attending Loyola University in Chicago. Very excited about that. I'll be studying public relations and probably a double major in entrepreneurship. That's the thought right now.
Great.
Best wishes.
Yes. Thank
Mrs.
you.
Brezink?
Yes, two things. Ms. Truin, are you part of the Truin family who had someone who went to Bethesda?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And who could that be?
Charlie, I'm assuming. Yeah. That's
It's a familiar Bethesda name, isn't it, Mr. Baumgart? Remember those? Yeah. Also, have you played Arrowhead yet?
no, we have not.
Beware,
But
there's a
we're
Bre-
ready. We're ready
beware,
for
there's a Brezink on that team.
Okay. Thank you.
We still allow her to be enrolled.
Sorry, we won't hold it against you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you for representing South so
thank
well,
you.
and we wish you luck moving forward in the future. And it was really a personalized message that you gave
Yes.
tonight. That was wonderful.
It was.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Yes.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Waukesha West. Do we have representatives from West?
I don't think so.
All right. We will move on then. We're to our part of the meeting where we allow citizens to address the board. As been past practice, each individual will be limited to 3 minutes of time to speak. At the 2.5-minute mark, Mrs. Brezink will give you a 30-second warning. We expect all speakers to honor our time limit, refrain from using any inappropriate language in any manner, and be respectful in their comments. Speakers who do not meet these expectations may be prohibited from speaking at future Board of Education meetings. We also expect that the audience will be respectful of the speaker and of the Board of Education and refrain from responding with verbal comments, cheering, applause, or behavior that will detract from the meeting. Also, in order to respect our speakers and meeting participants, please silence your cell phones at this time. And we do have just one person signed up this evening, and that's Amanda Roddy. Amanda?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. For formality's sake, I am Amanda Medina Roddy, and as Mr. Como announced, I was a recent candidate for the Waukesha School Board. I have spoken with a majority of you one-on-one. However, still, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the incumbents on retaining their seats, and thank you for a great race that we all ran together. As a mother and member of the community, on behalf of my family, though, I do want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for being committed to serve our community in this capacity and my children. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that would also like to make a comment at this time? Okay. We do have a few minutes for approval tonight. There are minutes from March 11th, 2015. That was regular board meeting minutes. We did have a special board meeting also on March 17th. I'd be looking for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Brezink, second by Bill. Is there any discussion, any corrections? Okay, Sue, will you take the roll call vote?
Barbara Brezink.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek. Aye. Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
Steve Edlin.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0. Sue? We'll move on to communications. Mr. Gray?
I have two letters this evening. The first one is from Dave Sternick, Commissioner of the Classic 8, and he's congratulating Waukesha South High School for winning the Sportsmanship Award in girls' basketball. And the second letter is also from Mr. Sternick, our Commissioner of the Classic 8, and he's congratulating Waukesha North for winning Sportsmanship Awards for both boys and girls' basketball. And
Yep,
those are my-
we actually win a lot of sportsmanship awards.
Yeah, we
We should be
Yeah.
very proud of,
Yeah.
of that.
And, you know, I'll be honest, I from time to time, I will get emails or calls from parents from other districts outside of the Classic 8, commending us on the sportsmanship at all three of our high schools.
Yeah, that's a hats off to the coaches, but then just, I think, also to the environments in general. We always hear positive reports coming from our student representatives, as we just have heard. And I know when I step into our schools, the attitude and the respect is always excellent. So that just trickles on
Right.
through to our sports. So that's fantastic. Anything else, Todd, to
That's
report
it.
on? Okay. We'll move on to Mrs. Brezink to give her report on the Waukesha Education Foundation.
Thank you, Mr. Como. The Waukesha Education Foundation Marketing Committee has been working and planning for new ways to promote the foundation in the community. A display board and PowerPoint have been developed and were recently presented to the noon Kiwanis in March. Increasing awareness of the Waukesha Education Foundation is one of the board's primary goals, and this newest marketing presentation will be used as we meet with other community groups and organizations. The Thrive to Thrive event is happening this Saturday, April 18th at North High School. There is still time to register. Just go to the Waukesha Education Foundation, WEF, website. Promotion by the WEF Board and ProHealth has produced flyers, posters, press releases, and other marketing efforts to make this a well-attended event. The WEF will also have a table at the event to promote the foundation and the upcoming July 20th Bob Duckett Memorial Golf Outing at the Legend of Merrill Hills. We are in the middle of a grant application process, and each year in the early spring, the Waukesha Education Foundation solicits grant applications from teachers, administrators, and staff with proposals for programs for the following school year. We are anticipating approximately $15,000 be available for district projects, including some special funds targeted towards fine arts, technology, and particular schools. The deadline for proposals is April 20th, and we encourage district staff to submit a grant for consideration. Application is online with the form and all information available on the WEF website. Mr. President, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Brezink. I would highly encourage teachers to apply for applications. There are only a few that have been entered so far.
That's right.
So it's lower than the norm at this time. Usually we have probably about 4 times as many submissions. Yes, Dr. Langell.
I agree, and thank you for saying that. And of course, the timing of spring break, we noticed in the times I was on the grants committee, was a factor. So now everybody's back, and I think there probably will be quite a few.
I hope
Yeah, we
so.
actually learned from the past, so we didn't make it during spring break, which we did, like the deadlines have been. So gave an extra week. Just want to let you know there's just a handful that have been submitted so far. So the money's available, but you have to let us know what you'd like to do with it and be convincing. Thank you, Mrs. Brezink. Moving on to the Safety Committee report with Mr. Baumgartner.
Thank you. Safety Committee met this morning. We reviewed the student and the employee accident reports. We continue to be concerned with the number of reports of teachers being injured due to the actions of students. This actually made up the majority of our reports, workers' compensation reports. Another item, the school nurse reported on our general student health. No concerns in the areas of flu or measles or anything. We're actually doing very well, and our absences are down. And the only other item mentioned was that reminder that this is April, the month in which we must conduct our tornado drills. So each of the schools will be expected or has had a tornado drill, during the month of April. And that concludes the Safety Committee.
Okay, thank you, Bill. You want to roll right into the charter
I
school?
will roll right into the charter school reports.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Mrs. Reinacek?
Oh, thank you. For item B under new business on the last page, when it talked about the free and reduced lunch students, did you guys talk about that or
What
no?
are you looking at?
On the very last page of, I don't know if you talked about
Oh,
that.
you mean the minutes
Oh,
of
yes.
the previous meeting?
Sorry, yeah.
For the
I guess
Safety
because-
Committee meeting?
Yeah, because I was gone last month. I don't know if I can ask about that.
Well, yeah, what's your question?
What, did they find out anything for the moms who wanted to, I'll just read it for the,
I can explain it.
okay.
There, at one of the high schools, let me back up a little bit. There's a concern with free and reduced lunches. The kids have to take this, and this. One of the things they have to take is a piece of fruit.
Mhm.
And as they pass through the line and they get their piece of fruit at the end of the line, they either throw the fruit out or something. So at one of our schools, they've put in a bin to collect that fruit so that it might be available. There are some legal and questions remaining as to whether that fruit can be moved to someplace that's still being discussed. It's silly, it's shameful, but that's the way it operates. We are required to give each kid that piece of fruit, and if it doesn't end up as one of the assistant principals says as a missile, then it might end up in that. But it has not been resolved.
Okay.
Charter
Bill.
school report. I really don't have a lot of report here either, possibly because of the last week's break. I didn't hear much back from people, and that's quite all right. They deserve to take a break, but there are two very positive things I think I should report on publicly involving our, involving our charters. One of them has already been noticed in the papers, but I'm going to rely on the article here from the Freeman. If you haven't heard about the fact that our robotics team, called Team Core 2062, has been very successful this year, winning the Wisconsin regional competition, the Midwest regional competition held in Chicago, placing top spot along in a tie with two other teams, and will be moving on to the first robotics world championship in St. Louis, Missouri next week. So we have been successful. Just to give you a couple of feedback comments I got from some people, Mike Duckett, who is the chair of the Engineering Governance Board, the Waukesha School District's robotic team, blah, blah, is a true champion. We are all very proud and appreciative of the incredible amount of hard work from the students and the dedicated assistance of the sponsors and the mentors. And there's a tremendous involvement in the sponsors and the mentors that help these kids through this process. Brian White, who we know from his days working with GE, quite simply responded, "Wow, amazing, this is fantastic, and you all should be extremely proud," and we are. One more thing regarding our health and our engineering academies. At about this time, they're just wrapping up the freshman orientations for the kids coming in next year, so that was going on tonight. One other item, actually, your Friday packet this week will be a little longer than usual because I've included in it a list that is to show you the wonderful successes of our STEM students in recent musical performances in the Waukesha School Music Association Solo Ensemble Contest. And it's very gratifying to see that these kids are also being heavily involved in some of the arts programs. So I wanted you and everybody else to know that's a positive, and you'll be getting that along with some other reports in the Friday packet. So that concludes the charter school report.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgart. All right, tonight we are considering a motion to disallow a claim for damages. Information regarding this situation is in a confidential memo at your desk. Please be aware that the information related to this claim and motion for disallowance must remain confidential. I move that the Board of Education deny the claims against the district submitted on March 3rd, 2015, and that a notice of disallowance of the claim be served upon the claimant by registered mail. Is there a second to that motion? Seconded by Bill. Okay. And since we really can't have discussion, we're going to move right to the vote, Sue.
Steve Edlin.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Barbara Zink.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0, Sue. We're at the point in our agenda for our consent agenda. There are no public gifts to report tonight, correct, Ms. Clifton?
There are none tonight.
Okay. Your agenda includes various categories for approval. We did not have any action taken by an expulsion panel. And at this time, if any board member wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, please so indicate at this time. Okay, seeing none, Mr. Steve Edlin, will you please present?
Thank you, Mr.
consent
President.
agenda?
Earlier this evening, the Human Resources Committee approved of 4 resignations, 2 retirements, 1 leave of absence, and 1 contract for the 2014-15 school year. For the 15-16 school year, the committee approved 875 full-time contracts, 12 part-time contracts, 4 partial leave of absence contracts, 1 leave of absence, 13 job share contracts, 1 full-time contract reduction, and 18 contract non-renewals for administrative purposes. The non-renewals are not performance-based, and they have to do with procedures for teachers that hold emergency licenses, as well as teachers that sign limited term or temporary contracts. The contract reductions are not due to budgets. Rather, the reductions are a result of enrollment and actual class sign-up. The information was provided in your packet, and an addendum was placed at your desks. Mr. President, I move that the consent agenda be approved as amended.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Second by Dr. Langell. Any discussion? Okay, Sue, take the roll call, please.
Kurt O'Brien,
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Steve Edlin,
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Barbara Brusink.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek. Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0, Sue.
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Edlin. Moving on to the superintendent's report given by Mr. Gray.
Great, thank you. First of all, North High should receive congratulations for receiving the Support Music Merit Award. It is one of 5 outstanding music education schools in the state of Wisconsin, and they certainly deserve that recognition. Anyone who's followed the band and the music program at North can certainly understand this. AP exams were recently announced a few weeks ago, and the good news is in Waukesha, we have tremendously more kids taking AP exams, and we have more students receiving a 3 or a 4 or a 5, which means college credit. So
Great.
that is good news. The percentage of those is down a little bit, but that would be to expected because we've had a large jump in the number of kids taking those exams, and we continue to encourage those students to take the exam. Recently, we had a policy change where in order for a student to get
Credit.
the additional credit, the weighted credit, they would take the AP exam. So we're going to encourage kids to do this. It's a great challenge, and it provides a lot of opportunity to students who maybe didn't realize they had that opportunity in the past. WKCE test results came out yesterday. In social studies, the district showed a 1.5% increase in proficient and advanced scores.
Great.
And in science, the other subject tested, showed a 1.8 increase in proficient and advanced scores, and both of those beat the state average for increases. So we're doing very, very well in those 2 particular areas. We've received information. We've received information that at least 2 of our students have scored a 36 on the ACT exam.
Wow.
That's a perfect score, and we are hoping to have them at the next board meeting to talk to the board on how they did it and maybe see if we can, C&I can emulate that in all our schools.
It's a challenge,
It is, that's for Ryan. Finally, Badger tests are ongoing. We are still hoping for Assembly Bill 78 to be approved. The Senate bill, companion bill has been approved, and that's saying that we're going to do the tests this year, but they will not be entered into the school report card that the state gives out. And the reason for this is I think it gives a great opportunity to pilot test this. We've encountered some issues with it that we think are related to some of the DPI work on it. First of all, the test has been kind of slightly dismantled as to what it originally was supposed to be. So I think it's an excellent opportunity to work on the test, take it, find out where the bugs are before it actually becomes part of a statewide report card. And finally, WF 5K run and walk is on Saturday at North, and I'm waiting for 125 staff members to sign up, and if they do, I will run that race in my best suit.
Oh.
So I'm waiting. That's the
Do
challenge.
board members count towards that count?
Anyone who's part of the district.
Oh, I wish I could run. Pat.
Parents?
You can walk.
Parents are part
Walk,
of the
walk.
district.
Okay, well, we need 125, whatever the number is, and I'll run it in my best suit. And that's my report.
talking about swimming suits, are you?
No, I'm talking about,
That's
might be this one.
You ended that on a challenge note.
I did, I did.
Yes. Let's see what we can do about that. We'll move on to our committee reports. As you know, we rotate committee report presentation, and first up tonight is Finance and Facilities, given by Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Como. I don't think we should make it any easier. It should be 125 staff members. And board members aren't going to count. So. I'm pleased to give the report tonight. As you recall, last board meeting, we had a fairly long report to culminate a very busy year last year, and we're starting a new year this year, and hopefully we'll get as much accomplished as we did last year. First action item is approval of 2015-16 student fees. The committee was presented with the recommended changes to the student fees for school year 2015-2016. There were no changes proposed for 2015-16 student fees, with the exception of secondary student breakfast. A reduction of 10 cents is being recommended to bring the price down to $1.75. An exemption from raising student paid meal prices will be requested from DPI for 2015-16. Without the exemption, elementary student paid lunch prices would increase 10 cents to $2.20, and secondary lunch would increase 10 cents to $2.45. To comply with the Health Hungry Free Kids Act, our current food service fund balance exceeds the federal guidelines, and an increase in meal prices will only make the problem worse. Those big words throw me off a little bit. The committee discussed ways to improve the quality of meals and encourage participation. Therefore, I move that we approve the 2015-16 fees as presented, and I so move.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Patrick McCaffrey. Discussion? Mr. O'Brien?
The fees are approved 4-0. Just so you know, there was a lot of discussion about the meals, which is later in the report, but the issue with excess balance is a problem that we have to study and figure out a solution for. It may be finding a way to get those kids to eat that fruit with a higher quality fruit or presentation or something like that. So we might solve the problem that Mr. Baumgart referred to earlier as part of the task at hand. So.
All right, Sue, let's take the roll call vote.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Barbara Brusink.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Steve Edlin.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0. Kurt?
We also had another action item, the approval of a master equipment lease purchase agreement. The committee reviewed the leasing proposals and final results to lease purchase 7 vans used to transport students and staff as needed. The district has leased 6 vans for use at the high schools for many years under an operating lease agreement. The current lease expires in June 2015. Under an operating lease, the district would pay $4,000 per vehicle per year for a 5-year period, and then return the vehicles, subject to charges of excessive wear or damages, and possible penalties if the mileage limitations are exceeded. The recommended lease purchase would allow the district to own the vehicles at the end of the term. Purchase of the vehicles would be from Ewald Fleet Solutions. Financing would be provided by California First National Bank at an interest rate of 2.68%. The committee approved the master equipment lease purchase agreement with California First National Bank, and I so move.
Is there a second to the motion? Second by Ms. Madden. Discussion? Mr. Baumgart?
Just a question, you're increasing from 6 to 7, is there anything?
Yeah, the indication from administration is that the 6 is just a little light. There's been quite often they need a 7th.
They need another one?
Yeah.
And that 7th fan is going to be kept at our maintenance location, and schools can call up as they need the extra van. And
Okay, good.
Mrs. Brusink?
Mr. O'Brien, do we have any idea approximately how many miles these cars have on them, these vans have on them when our lease is up?
Well, we may have an idea, but I don't.
Clifton?
I think Ms. Clifton might have had.
Currently, they're running in about the mid 45,000 range,
Really?
but we've also had these since 2008.
Yeah, we renewed, the original lease for these were in 2008. We extended that lease
That's
for a
pretty good.
couple of years.
Originally it was a 4-year term, and then we extended it for another 3.
Okay, another 3, so it's been 7 years. They're pretty much at their maximum miles, and we know that there is some damage and repair. And so going to the lease to purchase is saving us money
Sure.
as we move forward in the future, so.
Thank
We
you.
don't travel great distances.
No, I know.
But they're out frequently.
Sure. Thank you.
Just to
Yes, Dr. Langell.
because maybe people watching might be, as I am, wondering why 45,000 is considered maximum. I always think my cars are just getting broken in at 45,000, but maybe for school vans, that's, or did I hear you right, 45,000 miles?
Right, so it's fairly low mileage.
Yes.
But we've had them for 7 years, and the value of, to continue to operate them and not own them
Oh,
there isn't a cost
okay.
benefit there.
That makes sense. I just was surprised at the low
Me too.
mileage. Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Reincheck?
I was just wondering, I don't know if you guys know, but do our students who are in the shop classes, do they work on the vans? Or like, do our students have an opportunity to maintain them versus
Not that I'm
to-
aware of, and I think there might be a liability situation.
Yeah, there would be a warranty issue there. Our service building does do the oil changes on them, but we do not have students work on them.
And these vans are used in place of the large buses, so these are for small teams, like cross-country teams,
Exactly.
smaller groups in clubs, where we don't require a full bus
Right,
for
Tennessee and
transportation.
cross-country, yeah, exactly.
Great. Mr. Edlin?
I'm wondering if it's, just a thought came up, and I don't know how it could be structured, but would it be advantageous to go on a rolling lease basis, kind of like what we do with our iPads? Where we don't have all 7 of them that come, and the lease expires at one time? You know what, I guess what I'm getting at is at the end of the term, we will own the vans, and if they're still in decent shape, we can still keep them for a few more years or sell them to the public. But we have to eventually face a new contract at some point, which is one large expense all at one time.
There was a really good incentive, though, that we get for purchasing, and at this time, we had $8,000 or $9,000 per van discount. If we purchase, that's a pretty good discount. If we did a traditional lease, we wouldn't get that discount.
As a governmental entity, the Ford Motor Company offers straight off the top, it's like a $6,600 per van off the base price, and then accessories add on to that as well. And under a traditional operating lease, because we aren't purchasing it, that discount doesn't exist.
And I think we were thinking of taking advantage of that, plus they're all up right now, so I don't know if we would be able to
Right.
stagger them easily now.
Okay.
But that could be something, perhaps to consider as we move forward in the future.
Or possibly do an outright purchase on one this year and, rotate them in. If we're still gonna get the same government discount, we could own one outright.
Well, my
And
thought
rotate 'em
was
in
at
that
the
way.
end of the 5 years, we could relook at that. Maybe that those that are a high mileage one, we turn over immediately. Those that are lower mileage, we
Sure.
would keep longer. So we can stagger it, because you're exactly right. Having them all on the same cycle doesn't give us a lot of leverage.
Great, thank you.
And we do have a motion in front of us to consider the 7 for the lease to purchase at this time. So, but future consideration. All right, Sue, I think we're ready to take the vote.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Barbara Brusink.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Steve Edlin.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0, Sue. Kurt?
Approval of a pilot project with Montessori School of Waukesha was the third and last action item. The committee considered the administration's recommendation of a pilot project with Montessori School of Waukesha. The school district of Waukesha will be able to count each student in this program for both revenue control and state aid, which would not be possible under the state's proposed voucher program. The committee approved the pilot program with Montessori School pending a formal approved contract for 1 year, and I so move.
Is there a second to that? Second by Dr. Langell. Discussion? Mrs. Brusink?
Yes. I have visited Montessori, and I just want to diddle your discussion that you had last night in FNF. It's a wonderful program, although somewhat different from our art programs. It's just as strong and just as wonderful, and I'm very, very happy that we were able to make that arrangement. Good job, Mr. Grade. I'm very pleased.
I would second that.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
Mr. O'Brien?
I would like to just mention that the very positive interaction we've had with the Montessori people in setting up this program. We've had them with the 4K program prior. They've done an excellent job with that program. They've been nothing but a partner. And, you know, if you can work with somebody that's trying to help build a stronger community in cooperation with the school district, you know, it's really great and special. And we've seen nothing but that coming from them. And I'm glad we're able to work together on something like this.
Yeah, I think, Bill, how long has it been? About 6 years, about that long that we've been?
4K is completed its 6th year, so we're staring down the barrel of 7.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been a long time, and you know, you and the folks from Montessori have done an excellent job, and it's been a relationship that's built over the years. And I think, quite frankly, what it comes down to is trust. You know, Bill, you've been grilled, and Montessori's been grilled quite a bit in the past, and we had a workshop on this matter. There were fewer questions at this workshop than previous workshops, and I think it just goes to show that there's been a great trust that's been built between our organizations. Your program is highly respected, and we're willing to take that next step with you and see if we can continue to serve the community in this manner. So,
I just wanted to add also, the structure is very much like the Model 3 4K program, and I'm guessing the contract will look very, very much like that, pretty much similar terms. But it is a different approach, but I go back to 2000 when I was with another district starting the first virtual school in the state, and the DPI said we couldn't do it, and you know how that's turned out so far. So we're not aware of anything that the DPI would hold us up. We've got to call into them for some information on that, but we've not found anything that would hold us up. And I also contacted our attorneys. They didn't see any issues either. The concern about curriculum, there is no state set curriculum.
Right.
So it's standards, and we do know that Montessori does address the standards that we need to address. So it's really, in fact, even in our own district, we have different curriculum, for example, at STEM or at Summit View than we have at some other schools, but we're all meeting the same standards. So I'm confident this will turn out to be a long-term success.
Mr. Baumgart.
I just want to be clear, I'm in favor of this, but I don't understand something. Did your motion include contingent on forming the contract? Because we don't have it. I was looking here.
Yeah, we don't have the contract.
There's really two parts to this. Tonight is just giving administration and Montessori the go-ahead to put the contract together.
Okay.
So we're showing confidence that we think this is a good idea. And then we'll have the contract come back next month,
Okay.
I would imagine.
Yeah, and it also gives Montessori a chance to start planning.
Just to reread the motion, the committee approved a pilot program of Montessori School pending a formal approved contract for 1 year, and I so move.
Thank you.
Okay?
Now I don't have to have Sue read that back.
Yeah, but he asked a question, we
Yes.
should answer it.
Yep.
Yes.
Very good.
Are we ready for the vote? Okay, Sue?
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Barbara Brzink.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Steve Edlin.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0. So you have a little bit of work to do,
Great.
Mr.
Yep.
Gray?
Yep, shouldn't
Moving
take too long.
Kurt, some information items tonight?
Yes, we have to be careful here. We're going to run this report longer than the meeting took itself. So we can move right along. Information items, we had 4 items. The monthly budget report. The committee received the monthly budget report for activity for the month of March 2015. $15,478,047 was reported into general fund revenue, and $9,704,366 was expended during the month. $1,666,557 was reported into special education revenue, and $2,349,726 was expended. The district is operating in accordance with our budget projection. Then we had the budget update. Well, that was a short discussion. The committee was updated on the 2015 budget projections. No changes have occurred at the state proposed budget since the district's projection was completed. In other words, our legislators are still trying to find money for us. We hope they find it. The item will be kept as an agenda item, and the board will continue to be updated as the budgeting process proceeds. The third item, and if you have a chance to look through your packet, it was an excellent report on the Employee Health and Wellness Center update. The committee reviewed a quarterly report on the status of Employee Health and Wellness Center. The clinic is on target with the original projections for usage. The school district of Waukesha currently pays for 44% of the clinic's costs. Since opening the clinic, district utilization has been 41% of the total visits. The cost allocation is based on each party's share of eligible insured participants. This allocation method is locked in for the first 2 years. Estimated employee out-of-pocket savings since the clinic opened in March 15, 2015 has amounted to $16,600 based on the average cost to the employee of a physician's visit. The next quarterly report should be available in July. I might also mention that with a health savings account option that the county uses, their savings were even bigger as the employees. So as we move to a health savings account for our employees, that savings will also be transferred over to the employees. So the clinic, in terms of our long-term plan, if you look at it, it all fits. The last item was an energy projects update. The committee was given an update in the status of facility site improvement projects included in the performance contract issued to Siemens Industries in October 2014. There has not been a lot of activity since last month's report. We are waiting for another bid for cleaning and service for HVAC equipment. The district is looking at an engineer to review the RFPs and materials recommended by bidders. This should be completed within the next 2 weeks. And there were no additional discussion items, and Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. We'll move right along to curriculum instruction given by Mrs. Brzezink.
Thank you. The last curriculum and instruction meeting was held last evening, Tuesday, April 14th at 6 o'clock. Tonight we have one action item and a few discussion items that appear on the agenda for CNI. The first action item is approval of high school grading scale. After months of feedback from parents, teachers, students, and members of the Board of Education, a clear system for feedback and grading practices has been created. Last evening, Jody Landish provided the CNI committee with the final draft of the high school grading scale for approval. On a vote of 5-0, the Curriculum and Instruction Committee approved the implementation of the new high school grading scale beginning in the 2015-2016 school year. We now request board approval, and I so move.
Is there a second to that motion? Second by Mr. Baumgart. Discussion? Mr. O'Brien?
I would just like to cover, since this is starting to culminate a lot of fast action by the administration, and it was started by some board members. This is a result of becoming aware as board members of parental concerns with the grading policy. And talking to parents, without naming parents' names, just out of trying to be a little bit confidential about this, they expressed that the past grading policy they felt was not encouraging students to take courses. It was scaring them away from things, and they weren't getting credit for some things that they expected to get credit for, and the grading policy was confusing. So I think when I believe I contacted Ms. Brzezink, who's CNI chair, and Mr. Baumgart, and we met with administration, and the speed at which they picked this up and said, look, after fighting hard for grading for learning for implementation ever since some of the prior directors were here, they were willing to take a fresh look at it based on comments from the parents that we talked to. And this is the result of that, or one of the results of that. There's more work to be done, but I think at CNI there was comments made about the wonderful job administration has done in listening both to parents, teachers, and board members. And I think this is the culmination of that part of it, that segment. So.
Dr. Langell?
Thank you. Yeah, to echo Kurt, and we talked about this last night, I want to also just thank Ryan, well, and New Horse Barb for being on it, but Ryan Crone and Jody Landish and the group, because I think what we have now, and I had said this last night, is a really clear system. Right. And, I think clarity as far as how you're doing and your, grades you get, or what your son or daughter's grades are and what that means is just essential. And I think we have it, so.
Mrs. Bruzane?
Right. I think that it's much more understandable to parents and to students, the grading scale. And it included input, I think, from parents, because we have included incompletes on there and failing if that does occur. So it's really, really pretty complete. And one of the things that the CNI committee wanted to make very sure of is that parents are well informed, and the district is well aware of the importance of making parents well informed through various channels and means of communication. So look forward to that coming out, because you're going to understand much better what's going on. Thank you.
Mrs. Reinacek?
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank Barb, because she had an idea to make sure that the grading scale is on every report card. Currently, right now, for our elementary report cards, at the top it says 1, 2, 3, 4, and it says what they stand for, just to kind of go back and remind us. And it's been 1, 2, 3, 4 for a while, and I still use it. So I think we're going to need a copy of this to just refer back to for a while. So that will be helpful.
Very.
Mr. Baumgart?
We should be clear, this is a secondary
Correct.
Only for
listing, not
secondary, yes.
elementary.
We're still
Actually, it's
working-
high school, and then there'll be
Right,
another
yes,
one
yes,
coming
yes,
for
yes,
middle
yes,
school and
yes,
elementary.
high school,
Now
Right.
we're working top down, right?
Yeah.
But even at high school, I think it's important to keep reminding parents, they forget from time to time, and so to keep reminding them.
Well, my point was that I was not sure if Karen was saying that we're going to be using this in the
Oh,
elementary
no,
levels. We
no.
will not be.
No, this is just high school. Yeah, thank you for that clarification.
So, Mr. Crone, what's the role, is there an intended rollout to go down to elementary eventually, or is that still debatable, or?
We took a comprehensive look across every building, and there were some issues at elementary school that are being addressed and will need some fixing. And we have gotten that feedback from teachers and some parents, and so we're ready to go with that. We have a couple of drafts ready to go, and those will be going to the CNI committee in upcoming months, as well as a middle school version as well. So those will be coming up. We wanted to start here to see where the feedback would go, and this really will transition. For example, we're having a conversation, what does it look like for an 8th grader who's going to be getting ready and prepared to go to high school and will be living in this model, as well as what does it mean for the storyline that's happening in elementary, and they're using the word continuum, so we'll see that coming up forward in the next ones as well.
Okay. Excellent. Mr. O'Brien?
I have a question. I'm afraid what the answer is, but I'm going to ask it anyway. When we come to STEM, which is a charter school with its own board, it actually has the ability under their charter to not follow.
Correct.
Right. They can set their own grading policy.
The contract gives them the right to.
Right. So sometimes I wonder why people are thinking that somehow STEM can't do their own thing when they really can, because they have the charter set up to do that. They can follow what we do, or they can do their own thing. And they have a board that, so any STEM parents that have concerns about the grading policy that the district uses, and if it's being used by the STEM schools, can go to the STEM board and request something different. They have the freedom and flexibility under their charter to do that, as I recall, correct?
Right, right. I mean, they can still talk to us, and we'll relay the message and work with that, with those administrations.
And I think that's, in general, that's the STEM, I think STEM is a little bit misunderstood in terms of how much power we as a board have over what they do, and because in reality, we don't have a lot of power. We control, we have some influence on the hiring of staff, we have influence on the financials, but when it comes to day-to-day operating practices and things like that, they have a very strong independent capability from the
Right,
district.
between the governance board, and then they still have to follow certain state guidelines.
Right.
Mrs. Reinacek?
Thank you. And I just wanted to say something else I said last night, because I know how many people tune into our meetings on the television. That's sarcastic. About at least a year ago, when parents would come to me about the grading, instead of me just calling Ryan and saying there's somebody else that has this issue, I felt very confident when Ryan told me he was keeping a I'm sure it wasn't a binder. Thinking of Mary Jo, it was probably this big PowerPoint or something, but every time someone had an issue with grading whatever grade it was, whatever class it was, whatever the problem was, he was recording it. And when things were repetitive and he was seeing a pattern of whether it was this grade or this school or whatever, he was noting that and making sure to address those issues. And if something was just here or there where it could have been just addressed with that teacher or that school and it was just random, I just felt confident sending people to him because I know that they were being heard and that it was being recorded to make sure that everybody's voice was heard and that this was being implemented according to what people were asking for. So,
Mr. Crowe?
I appreciate.
Just a comment on?
Yeah, I thank you for that compliment, but really I just appreciate people sending those our way. This is a result of great conversations and people sharing about what they value and don't value, and so I appreciate that coming there and keep encouraging those conversations to take place with schools, with administrators, and definitely don't hesitate to send things our way, but appreciate you sending them our way, Karen.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, so we're ready to take the vote on approving the new high school grading scale. Sue?
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Steve Edlin.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Barbara Brzezinski.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0. Sue? Barbara?
Okay, we have a few discussion items. First is the middle school elective update. Jason Sadowski, principal at Butler Middle School, returned to present data that was gathered via surveying the students at the middle level in regards to the current wheel model and elective offerings. Students have clearly articulated that they are looking for more elective options. One change that will be implemented for the 2015-2016 school year will be the addition of career connections into the sixth grade curriculum. Mr. Sadowski will continue to keep us apprised of the work that is being done at the middle level for electives offered to students beginning in the 2016-17 school year. Yes.
Oh, I don't want to cut you off.
It's a discussion item. So
Yes, it's a discussion item.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say, I think it was, for me, great as far as the kind of collegiality that is growing so much on
Absolutely.
this board, that one of my fellow board members, Karen Reinacek, asked the question I would have, but she did, about whether Latin is growing in terms of student interest and so forth. So I just wanted to thank her because I was going to ask that question, and she just jumped right in there.
what was the answer?
It's like this, Ellen.
Well, they're working on it.
Yeah, her,
Thinking about it.
So never give up. Anyway,
But it
thank
was
you.
interesting that the number one language that was selected among the
German.
students was German, which we
Yeah.
discontinued for a
That's
while.
right.
so-
That's right.
I did, Mrs. Brzezinski, I did have a question on this particular page.
Okay.
Where we're looking at the proposed guiding principles for 2014, 2015.
Yes.
The very last point, it says, students will have the option to accrue credits as part of their elective experience. Is that credits towards high school credits, or what credits are we?
Could you address that, Mr. Cohn?
Well, yeah, language, but the others aren't high school. The rest are just middle school.
I'd have to double check on this, but there is some new work at the state level that if you take a high school level course
math.
taught by a certified high school teacher, that you can get high school credit for it, and that would be the case for a foreign language course, for example, and it's even going to be the case for courses like algebra or geometry, other courses as well.
Math.
So there's going to be some conversation around which of those take place, do or don't. There's also a new computer science course that goes with a new Project Lead the Way course. So we're watching that component carefully and looking at if credits are there. Otherwise, yes, electives will count as a middle school experience, but we're watching it closely as well as if there's some carryover to high school as that unfolds. That's new in legislation and currently unfolding.
That'd be great for those middle schoolers to
Yep.
be able to earn that. Mr. O'Brien?
There's something that's said here in the background on this world language thing. It says,
That's
That's
not an
not under
item for discussion
discussion.
tonight.
no.
It was on the agenda, but it was removed.
World languages one?
Yes,
Okay.
It wasn't at CNI either.
right.
Well, can
It'll be coming back next month. It'll be
I don't need
agendized
to ask
next
it
month.
tonight anyway. I'll ask it next time.
Okay.
We have
I'll
some,
wait
ti-
for
we
next
have, we have
month.
some time on that, Mr.
Next
Ryan.
month will be fine.
Bring it up
Yep.
in May.
Any other questions or discussion on the middle school electives? Yes, Mrs. Reinacek.
I just wanted to bring up one more thing that we all found interesting. The, is it Jason, who's the Butler principal again? Yeah.
Jason Sadowski.
Yes, thank you. He asked all the kids, at least 1,000 kids, what would they like to have for options, and they gave their feedback. And one of the questions, he said, if you could have all these options, but you would be put with kids that were not in your grade, would you be okay with that? And the majority of them said no. And then the next question, when he rephrased that and said you would have more options if you were with kids in different grades, if you weren't with your friends, then if you had more options, then would you want that? And the majority of them
Yes.
said yes.
Interesting.
So he was trying to get, to get all the kids' feedback, and then, like he said, the number one thing that they requested was German. I was like, what? But anyway, he's
Well,
getting
and that
feedback.
was at 4, 5, maybe 5 or 6 years ago we dropped German. It was quite a while.
Well, it's offered through eAchieve, but it was,
Right.
yeah, it's been about 5 years now.
Yeah, at the high school level, and
Yeah.
I don't recall if it was ever part of the wheel at the middle school level, but
I don't
It was
think,
part of that flex.
right, it was
Okay.
part of Flex.
it was. Mr. O'Brien?
Seem to be talking a lot about world languages. I know it's part of the wheel, but I just had my question answered that I was going to ask, but that we could still get it through eAchieve.
Right, right.
Okay, thank you.
And I think eAchieve also does offer Latin, doesn't it? So kids have an opportunity.
It gets gray sometimes, Mr. O'Brien. All right. Barb,
Okay,
anything
moving
else on
forward,
this?
yes, we had a math review recommendation update. Mr. Anthline, along with Rose Palmer and Dan Pushinsky, appeared on the agenda in March to recommend 2 supplemental resources to support our math curriculum. Following the presentation in March, there were a few questions that we left with Mr. Anthline, which have now been resolved. I will turn the floor over to Ryan Crone for any questions that you may have regarding the supplemental math resources entitled Dreambox and 10 Marks. Does anyone have any questions? Dr. Lanto?
I just wanted to comment, because I know a month ago at CNI, I had been real concerned, and I think a number of us shared it. So just very quickly, Bob told us last night that the concern about students not being able to use it at home if they don't have Wi-Fi, that he said he and his staff have looked at that, and they found a way somehow to send this home on the iPads. And so I credit them for listening. And sometimes, on school board, you think that the staff might sit there and think, oh, gosh, they're such a pain, that school board. Why are they asking these questions? But maybe he feels that way. But even if he does, it seemed like he spoke to it. And I was really very happy to hear that, because I just don't think we can approve anything where some of our
Right.
students don't
That's
get
right.
it. And he said that they have met that.
So is that an offline solution? So at school, they
Yeah.
download it and then they can
Yes,
take it
they
home?
download it at school.
Right to the iPad. So that really meets the problem, yeah.
Mr. Bumgarner?
Just so you don't misunderstand, it's not an absolute cure because there's some feedback issues with it and some timing on it, but they would be able to accomplish significantly more than they would have
Yeah, yeah.
a month ago.
Right,
That's right.
right.
So it is online, it won't be online, it will be on your computer, and you won't have some other feedback that you would get from the system, I guess.
Right. Mr. McCarthy?
Yeah,
McCaffrey?
it'd be like working out of a textbook,
Yeah, it's,
is what it's gonna be like, 'cause you would download it, it's static.
So you don't get the dynamic
You don't get the
aspect of it.
dynamic,
No, but
yes,
at least they
right,
get it.
But, yeah,
but you can still study at home
Yes.
using it.
A great improvement.
It
Right.
seemed too that one of the other things that was accomplished is there were a lot of things being used by various teachers, and now we're becoming more consistent with
Consistent,
those
right.
offerings, and
Right, good point.
hopefully the professional development will be easier, and
Right.
the collaboration will be easier, that sort of thing.
Huge issue.
Yep.
Any other
Okay,
questions? Discussion? Okay. Mr. O'Brien?
If they do need access to Wi-Fi, McDonald's always has Wi-Fi available.
That's true, and obviously that would put a little extra burden on them. But Ryan Crone told us a really interesting district in Kentucky, Danville, has faced this problem. It's somewhat rural, somewhat urban, where they take school buses and park them throughout the district as hotspots.
Oh.
so their kids who maybe don't have Wi-Fi at home can access it. So I thought, other districts have looked at this issue, and it was just interesting to hear that as a solution.
Plus, many cell phones now can be used as hotspots.
That's true.
That's true.
So we're getting there, and hopefully all our families are too. Yep.
Okay, one more item. E-Achieve, a 5-year elementary contract update. Principal Rick Niedersheim returned to the C&I Committee to provide an update on the 1-year elementary program that is currently running via E-Achieve. This pilot program was approved last spring for the 2014-15 school year. Based on the success of the program, parent satisfaction, and financial viability, Mr. Niedersheim appeared before the committee to provide the framework and begin discussions on extending the pilot program into a 5-year contract. This item will appear on an agenda again in the near future. So thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the CNI report, and our next meeting is May 5th.
Thank you, Mrs. Brezink. Moving on to our next committee report is for Human Resources. That's given by Mr. Edlund.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 2 items tonight for action. The first one is the approval of the recommended candidate for the position of Assistant Principal of North High School. The administration is recommending Kristen Higgins for the position of Assistant Principal of North High School. Ms. Higgins has a high level of enthusiasm for the role. She has offered a fresh voice to the North community and is disciplined, organized, has confidence, and has the ability to motivate others. She is seen as someone that can set the tone for high expectations as the norm, yet displays a likable sense of humor. She will do well with technology, and her references stated that she communicates well with parents, colleagues, and students. Ms. Higgins is currently teaching science and reading at Templeton Middle School in Sussex Hamilton School District. She's taught 4th and 5th grades in the Milwaukee Public Schools. Ms. Kristen Higgins has received her administrative degree in educational leadership from Concordia University in 2014, her Master of Science in Curriculum and Instruction in 2004 from UW-Milwaukee, and her Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education in 2000 from UW-Milwaukee. A confidential recommendation and resume were included in your packet. Salary and benefits will be according to the middle management policies. I move to approve the appointment of Kristen Higgins to the position of Assistant Principal of North High School.
Is there a second to that? Dr. Langell? Discussion? Mrs. Brezink?
When will this person take the position? Starting of the next school year or soon?
Mrs. Hedstrom?
July 1st.
July 1st, all right, thank you.
Other discussion? Mr. Edlund?
I'm glad to see that we have another high school graduate from Milwaukee Technical and Trade High School.
Yes. I was
Provided.
wondering if you were going to comment on that.
Well, yep, and, that gives us another opportunity to tie in with our MAID programs.
Yep.
She can bring a different dimension to that school for that program.
That's true.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Sue, why don't we take the vote?
Barbara Brezink.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
Steve Edlund.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0. We'll move on to your second action item, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. President. The second item is the approval of the recommended candidate for the position of Associate Principal of Waukesha STEM Academy Randall Campus. The administration is recommending Christine Sprader for the position of Associate Principal of Waukesha STEM Academy Randall Campus. Ms. Sprader is currently an effectiveness coach at the Waukesha STEM Academy Saratoga campus. Sarah is known for her drive, knowledge, and passion for innovative teaching practices. She's a reflective practitioner who successfully collaborates in environments to support student learning. Ms. Sprader graduated from UW-Madison with a bachelor's degree in elementary education and will graduate from Carroll University next month with a master's degree in educational leadership. She also completed her mentoring coaching certificate from Cardinal Stritch University in 2014. Ms. Sprader has been a strong teacher leader in the school district of Waukesha since 2009. A confidential recommendation resume was included in your packet. Salary and benefits will be according to the middle management policies. I move to approve the appointment of Christina Sprader to the position of Associate Principal of Waukesha STEM Academy, Randall Campus.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Second by Mrs. Brezink. Discussion? Mr. Baumgart?
Yeah, in my role working with the charter schools, I've had the opportunity to see her at work in a number of situations with the governance board in the classroom and touring when some guests are there. And quite simply, she's just powerhouse. She's going to be very good at this, so I'm
Great.
very, very happy with this.
Mrs. Reinacek?
My only concern is that STEM started out with one principal, and it was too much. It was too much for one person. And then we had two, and so I'm just wondering why we want to go back to one. That is just something
There still will be two. I mean, Christina will be an assistant administrator. We did, at one time, Brian had run both schools, and then we got an assistant for him to help out. And that's the model we've used. I think the reason we're going this way is that the strengths of Jim Murray is his passion for STEM can be felt among the entire K-8 population. But make no question, Christina will be a strong administrator at Randall STEM. So there's technically two administrators. It's just that one is the lead principal and one will be an associate principal.
Mr. O'Brien? Oh, were you done, Karen? I'm sorry. Mr. O'Brien?
Yes, in fact, I was going to make mention of, and I think this is quite appropriate, and I appreciate very much the STEM Governing Board sent us a short letter saying they unequivocally support the changes that we're making and the staffing decisions that we're making. I think that's very important to get that feedback from them, because it is their school. It's our school too, but it's also their school, and we kind of have to have a joint agreement on leadership at the schools and how they're run. So I appreciate the feedback from the governing board, and I'm hoping that they will continue to provide us this feedback as we make these types of decisions.
Mr. Baumgart?
Yeah, and Karen, to your concern, there's another element of this that's going to be, I think, allowed for more continuity and transparency from one school to the next school, and that Jim will have the total responsibility K through 8 with the assistance of an assistant principal, as opposed to a principal operating one system and another principal operating the other system. So we're trying to bring the two of them into more, I guess continuous is the only word I can think about. There's probably another word out there, but I think it'll be a little bit more fluid.
I think one of the things that I truly admire about this administration, and I'm looking at Ms. Hedstrom right now, is our ability to adapt and to make good decisions. Just because we've done something one way for X number of years doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a better way.
That's right.
And I'm sure that we're going to be taking a look at how well this works, and if it doesn't work, well, we're going to make some adjustments. So I appreciate all the effort that goes into this. And as Mr. O'Brien pointed out, the blessing of the governance board, STEM, I think, is probably the most important blessing to have gotten. So, any other discussion or questions? Mrs. Reinacek.
Okay, just want to say one more thing. Christina Sprader was my son's teacher, and she had I think her knee was like a torn ACL or something. She was in crutches, yet she had 25 kids all in a row. She had her foot up, and I have no doubt that she's going to be excellent. And Mr. Murray, he is, yes, as you say, he's a powerhouse. Yes, I think his fiance is waiting to get married, yet he works so much that he won't take time to get married. And so I would just like to say, before you jump into more work, Mr. Murray, you need to go to Vegas or do whatever you're going to do, and then fine.
Want to make that a
That's
motion?
live. Contingent on a marriage.
I know, I'm just kidding.
All right. I think we're ready to take the vote, Sue.
Okay, Steve Edlin.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Barbara Brzezing.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
And Joseph Coleman.
Aye. Passes 9-0. Steve?
That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll be moving on to our policy committee, given by Ms. Madden.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have one action item tonight, and that is the grading policy revisions to 5121. You've seen this before, and I didn't have any questions from anybody. I don't know if you did, Mr.
No, and this is an ongoing work in progress. So.
Right.
Excuse me. Excuse me. And this is first reading or second reading? Second reading?
Second reading.
Second.
Okay.
Are you moving?
Is there a did you make a motion or not?
No, so I would move that we adopt the revisions to policy 5121 grading policy.
Okay, now I heard the motion.
Second.
Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Brezink. Discussion, Mr. O'Brien?
You know, quite often, this is pretty much a very sticky issue when we require, there's a requirement relative to the AP to take the test, to get the credit. And I see there's provisions made in here for families that have difficulty paying. And it seems like the provisions are, you know, pretty harsh. I mean, they're either homeless or indigent. And there's a lot of students that need to take the test that is still a burden that are outside those two categories. And I know for parents that have to go through the collection process, it's difficult when they don't have the money to pay for things and they keep getting called by the district for collection. So when I see a policy like this, I don't know how much discussion has gone into that, but it's something that always seems to come up that I think bothers some members of the board. And it's not easy to deal with when you look at the policy that now requires and affects their grade point average and creates an uncomfortable position for some families that have affordability issues.
Well, actually, it's received quite a bit of discussion among administration on how to handle this. It is, yes, there is a cost to that, but I mean, if they get the 3, the 4, the 5, the benefits in reduced college credits down the road are, you know, far greater. But we're willing to work with any family, just like our student fees. That's even a harsher waiver process than this is. But we don't want to just make it basically a free-for-all. If you don't think you can afford it, you get it. We do want the parents to show that there are issues that they can't pay for it, because there is a future financial benefit to the family if the student gets the 3, the 4, or the 5.
Mr. O'Brien?
But, you know, when I think back to this, I mean, one of the things that I believe, and I'd have to, you know, my memory gets fuzzy after a while, but don't we have caps on fees for athletics? I mean, a family cap, like you only have to pay up to a limit. And I would think that we probably should have a cap relative to this as well, because it can get very expensive for a family with multiple children, all high-achieving kids. I mean, I can think of one family in particular where, you know, they're moderate income family, but with raising several children and getting ready to put them through college, I can tell you the funds aren't easy to come by. So,
well, again, we will work with all families, but you made the point. If they take this test, which is, you know, far less than you know, credits at a university, they will get university credits. So there is a very large financial benefit down the road in that particular situation. But I mean, we are not going to allow any student to not be able to do this. We will work with any family, but we have to put some kind of benchmark in there on which to operate.
And actually, I think 1 or 2 years ago, Kurt, we had removed the cap, the family cap for athletic fees. It's just per athlete now. That's part of the fuzziness. Mr. O'Brien.
well, 1 or 2 years ago, I probably wasn't here when you removed it, but I myself would prefer that we take another look at that. I mean, I'm not going to vote against this tonight, but I think that's something we need to consider as far as the student fees, because this really does fall under student fees. There's a fee involved that the students have to pay for taking the test. Maybe they don't pay it to us, or do we pay it for them, or how's that go?
It goes to
It goes to AP.
College Board. Yeah.
Well, what I'd like to do, I think, yeah, we certainly can have a discussion on that. This particular policy, as I've noted, is a work in process. There's more coming, but we wanted to get this in place because students are starting to register for classes for next year. So there's a little bit of urgency in that, but we can certainly bring the high school principals in to discuss it. And, you know, their information that they provided me suggested that this particular language was workable. But we can bring them in and continue that discussion. Nothing, I mean, if we see there's a better way to do this, we can certainly make that change quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Reinacek?
I was just gonna say, I don't know, my copy says if families are not able to make full payments, schools should arrange for individual payment plans. So I'm not sure, so what's wrong, Kurt?
Look down further.
Continue reading, yeah.
After prudent attempts to collect payments, the building administrator may consider reducing the AP testing fee. So that's even better. Fees will be waived for homeless and indigent students according to district definition and state and federal laws.
Great.
So I don't,
Well,
What we're asking for is if someone is maybe might have multiple students, can't pay it, we would say, can you pay $10 a month, for example? And if they're not able to pay that down the road, we would look at the case, check the situation out, and we might waive any further fees.
just like when the kids register for school, anything like that, if they can't pay that all at once, we say, what can you
Correct.
pay?
Right.
Just like a phone bill or groceries or anything else, it doesn't have to be taken all at once, you can pay per month. And so I thought
Yeah.
that's what this is saying.
It was 80.
That's essentially what we're trying to do with it.
Mr. O'Brien?
yeah, to respond to that, Mr. Reinacek, I mean, I've talked to parents over the years where when they have trouble paying, and it's really almost, they've gotten it's very uncomfortable for them, the multiple phone calls they get from the district and trying to collect when they don't have the money. And that's one of the issues that I think we deal with as a board, is how do we do something like this and have our, respect the issues that some of our families have. And yet they may not fall under this homeless and indigent. It's not an easy answer, but it is a problem for some families. I understand it is a difficult thing for us to answer, but it is a problem for some families.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to balance a number of things, respect for the family, sensitivity to the issue, and also being fair. Those are sometimes very difficult things to balance in every situation. Did you have something more to say, Mrs. Reinacek?
No.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on this policy? So we're looking to potentially new policy. Potentially new policy, grading policy that impacts the AP test taking. Sue, will you take that vote, please?
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Steve Edlin.
Aye.
Ellen Langell.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Barbara Brzink.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
And Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 9-0. Pat?
That's the only item we have tonight. Our next policy meeting is April 21st.
Okay, thank you. And then Technology Committee, given by Mr. McCaffrey.
I have no report this evening, but we will be setting an end-of-the-year meeting up to go over what we've done in Waukesha 1 and projects that we've done and set a schedule for the summer.
Thank you, Mr. McCaffrey. And there is no other business, and Mrs. Langell.
Well, this is, no, I don't really have business. I mean, I have no business saying this. How's that? Technology. No, I just wanted to ask everybody to send me good wishes tomorrow night. This is so crazy, but a friend encouraged me to do this, so I registered for fun to take this Jeopardy test. So I did that last night. And so I got an email today that I passed that, so now I have to take another Jeopardy test tomorrow night. And I'm sure I'll probably fail it. But as my family would tell you, if I do pass it tomorrow night, I don't want to really be on the show, because my family would tell you if I was actually on camera, they would ask me my name and I wouldn't know it. So I don't really want to go on the show, but it's just sort of fun to see these tests. So tomorrow night, I have to take another test. I'm not asking for action. It's not an action item. No, it's technology. See, it's technology. So anyway,
Thank you.
tomorrow
Bob.
night.
Well,
Tomorrow night's the night.
we don't have a need for a closed session tonight, so the meeting is adjourned.
God, 8:30.
Hey,